Hello, lovelies. So today we're going to be talking about picking a product, and it's a really important part of your e-commerce or marketing endeavor. And sorry, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and that's the best I can do. So you're going to have to deal with it. But I know a lot about this because, as I said, for 20 years I was involved in direct response marketing. And so my job was to help people not only pick their products, but kind of configure their products for marketing. And so I did a lot of this. I saw a lot of products, and I'm going to tell you about a few of those today to kind of start off the conversation, because I think that this is the conversation, really. The first rule is that anybody that tells you that they know that their product is going to work is lying to you. And anybody that tells you that your product is not going to work is lying to you. And that anybody that thinks that they know anything about how your product is going to be received by the market is lying to you, because you never know, right? You just never know. Now, that being said, there are some rules that we'll get into that will go a long way to helping you configure your product for the very best chance. But let me tell you a few stories. My first husband, his uncle and auntie used to sell lucky rabbit's feet out the back of the National Enquirer. And that's because inquiring minds want to know whether you're going to be lucky or not, right? And so they weren't selling enough lucky rabbit feet. And my ex-husband came up with the great idea is, why don't we do psychic readings and sell rabbit feet to the customers that buy the psychic reading? That way we can increase the number of rabbit feet that we can sell. And so we needed a bit of money to do this, because in those days you needed a big phone system to do, more than 5 phone calls at a time. And so we went out into the marketplace and we kind of knocked on hundreds of doors. And as I'm telling this story, it's very reminiscent of a story my father told. It's so funny, right? How things cycle around. Anyway, eventually, we stumbled across this creature, a very interesting character, who decided he would throw just $10,000 at us, because basically it's like what he would spend for lunch. And even though, here's the important part, even though all the people that we had talked to about doing psychic readings on the telephone, on the TV, right? So basically we were going to do a television ad, have people come and talk to us, and then we were going to sell them rabbit feet. And everybody said, no, that's not going to work. That's the most ridiculous idea. Who wants to do psychic readings on the telephone? So this guy, he threw $10,000 at us, and we melted the phone line down. And there was a series of events that essentially cut us out of the business. But that guy made tens of multi-million dollars a month from Psychic Hotline. And all those people that said, no, that's never going to work, called us up and said, oh, we want to do it now. And many people got into the business and copied us. Psychic Friends Network or something, or Dionne Warwick or whatever. That wasn't us. That was a ripoff of us. That was somebody we went to and asked money for, who said, no, this is not going to work. And then he ripped us off, right? So first lesson is, you never know. Even if everybody tells you that it's going to be a huge failure, maybe it's not. Now, as a professional, I had a lot of opinions because I was young too, right? And so people would come to me and they would say, this is my product. Like I remember this guy had sunglasses for your car, right? So instead of a screen, it was sunglasses. And there's a valuable lesson in here too, because he basically mortgaged his house, right, to do this product without testing the market at all. And it didn't work out so well for him. But another guy came to me and he said, I want to do the state quarter collection. And I'm like, what do you mean a state quarter collection? And he said, I'm going to take the states right now are doing these quarters. And so, like, Georgia has a peach on it. And I'm going to paint those and I'm going to sell them for $25. And you get 5 states and you get a little map and you sell it for $25. And I'm like, okay, 5 quarters, that's $1.25. And a map that's worth about $2. And you're going to sell that for $25. And inside myself, I was laughing. And at this stage in my career, I had learned never say never, because you never know. And good thing, because again, he went on to sell multi-tens of millions of dollars of state quarters. I mean, crazy, right? A guy went on buses for, what do you call those things? In America, all the kids, spring breaks, and shot some video of girls going wild and sold videos. And he made multiple tens of millions of dollars selling Girls Gone Wild. Now, those are a few of the success stories. And I've had a lot of failures. There was this one where there was this cream. It was a cream that basically activated chromosome 13, which is the healing chromosome. They found it out of the Amazon jungle, and they were utilizing it for cancer treatment, and they needed to make some more money to pay for all their cancer trials. So they're like, oh, we'll make it into a face cream. This thing was amazing. Failed. And I was literally putting it everywhere. It was such an amazing product. Even they gave us the powder, and if you had a bleeding gum or something, you put this powder on, overnight your gums were healed. Like, it was literally a miracle. And we had a celebrity spokesperson, one of the Charlie's Angels, the blonde bitchy one. I know from experience. And didn't work, right? So there's a lot of factors that go into making your product. Now, I'm trying to decide, do I want to go through the factors or if I want to go through some of the examples that you've sent me. So maybe I'll do that first. No, I'll go through the factors first, okay? So I told you that there are a few little rules. I'm going to bring up my email. A few little rules about what makes a product good for marketing. Now, the first one. Oh, and also a lot of you have asked me about drop shipping too. So this is kind of where the first one comes into play. To make a good product that people are going to be interested in and to do it profitably, it really helps to have a unique product. Now, that's not a hard and fast rule. For example, I made the Psychic Hotline. Well, my husband did. We did together. And that was a completely unique product. Nobody had ever done that before, and that's why we blew the doors off. And we made this guy millions and millions of dollars. But it didn't take long for somebody to come along and rip us off that had a lot more money and basically take the market from us. So having a unique product doesn't necessarily guarantee you success in the long term, right? You need to employ strategies there. But that being said, having a unique product and marketing it correctly can make you a lot of money, okay? And we can talk about how to protect your product later, but I just want to give you an example about uniqueness. Now, one thing that might scare people off is, well, let's talk about drop shipping first, okay? So drop shipping. Drop shipping is what I do, okay? Basically, I have my product made somewhere else, and then when people order Magical Egypt, they send it to the people. So I am essentially a dropshipping company. But when you watch all of these YouTube videos that say, get into dropshipping, it's going to be amazing, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, right? First of all, the guys that are doing the dropshipping and making a lot of money, most of them have a lot of money behind them. And actually, let me stop there and talk about this for a second. You can have the best product in the world, and if nobody knows about it, you're not going to sell any. It's as simple as that. Now, I'm going to give you an example of something that is very, very rare. My friend, Veda Austin, who I'm blessed to call my friend, she talks to water and she teaches people how to do it. And she's not even a product. She is an artist and a water whisperer, and she's amazing. But she teaches people how to speak to water. And the very nature of the excitement and the uniqueness of talking to water, she doesn't do any marketing at all. Her idea, she is viral, okay? People find out about it. They don't believe it. They tell their friends, and they all want to take classes. Now, that is incredibly rare, but her offer is completely unique. What Veda does is one of the most unique things on the planet. And as a result of that, she's the only person that can teach this. And her offer is viral. And she's doing very well teaching people how to talk to water, which is wonderful. One thing I don't want you to do is to get scared because you see that there's a lot of products in the marketplace. For instance, my friend Stephanie is an acupuncturist, and she's trying to figure out what she can market. And she's thinking about writing books on acupuncture. Now, if you go to Amazon, you're going to find lots of books on acupuncture. And that might discourage her or somebody thinking about doing a product in a marketplace that seems to be crowded. However, what you need to understand is that you are an individual and have your own insights and your own understanding about things, and that you are unique. And so you have the ability to bring a whole new level of insight to your offer that people might not have done before. And you might have a completely new way of approaching a subject that people haven't ever thought of before. And in fact, Magical Egypt is a great example of that. People have been doing history, talking about ancient Egypt ever since there was an ancient Egypt, really. But Chance and John and all the guys in Magical Egypt have a completely different approach at looking at history and at looking at ancient Egypt, and that's what we call the symbolist approach. And very few people had done that before John or Schuyler. And so when we brought out a new way of looking at ancient Egypt that made a lot more sense to people, even though it had been done before, people loved it. Okay? So unique can be what you bring to a subject that is different and new and can help people or solve a problem or get them excited. And so the uniqueness can be you. And I think in this particular class that I'm teaching now, looking at who my students are, the uniqueness is you. Now we have some people like Jade, for example, who's an artist. And so she's creating artwork. And that is completely unique because it's her artistic expression. And so in that case, there's not going to be a lot of people that are doing artwork the same way that Jade is doing. And so that is a great example of uniqueness. And herein lies the problem when we're talking about drop shipping. Drop shipping is essentially you go to Alibaba and you look through the millions of products there and you see that, I don't know, there's something that really appeals to you. The problem is there's millions of people out there that are going through Alibaba and trying to pick that one product that's going to be a success. And let's say you are fortunate enough to pick the one product that nobody else is doing. And you put it up on Facebook and it starts selling like crazy. Chances are somebody else is going to go to Alibaba, grab that same product, probably have a lot more money than you do, and they're going to steal the market from you like they did with me and the psychic hotline. So the problem that I have with drop shipping is, in terms of uniqueness, and there are other problems, are that it's very difficult to hold on to a market for a long time unless you have a lot of experience in marketing, so you know what you're doing. You have a lot of money to push your marketing so that once you go through all the trouble of bringing this thing up and creating a business, that you can hold on to it. So drop shipping fundamentally is not a problem. It's just that many, many people are looking to do drop shipping. And so being able to have uniqueness within drop shipping is very, very difficult. And one thing that really pisses me off, and I don't know if you're seeing these, but, you know, I look at marketing. So there are these guys out there right now that are saying, I won't get into the details, but there's a way to find out which dropshipping businesses are doing the best. Go there, steal their ads, find the product, steal their marketing, and voila, you can steal their whole business. And with AI and with all the intelligence that's out there today, you can absolutely do that. And it's just like, wow, that's heartbreaking to me, knowing how hard it is to get a business to work. But literally, they're teaching people how to rip off other people. And if the product is generally available in the marketplace, your business is gone. And it's just really disgusting. Another thing that is interesting if you're doing drop shipping, this is what I do, is if I see something on Facebook that I have a feel that it's going to be an Alibaba product, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to see the product, like the product, go to Google the product, and buy it for a quarter of the price. And the reason for that is, we'll get into the costs of marketing and why you need to mark things up. So I don't know what percentage of people are smart enough to do that, but that's what I do. And so that hurts your business because you put all the time and the energy and the money into marketing something and told me about it, and then I go ahead and cut you out. And so that's another risk with drop shipping. So fundamentally, drop shipping is a great way of doing business in the respect that you don't have to own all the inventory. You basically, somebody orders from you and then you order from the drop shipper and they send it out. But it is a tricky way. And there are lots of ways that it can go wrong. And so I don't want to necessarily discourage you. I'm just saying that it's one of those more uphillish kind of ideas. One of the last clients that I had was one of these terrible groups. And they would go out into the marketplace and they would see people on Facebook advertising things. They had a lot of money and they would basically just steal the idea and blow the doors off. And, they would run it for 3 months or something and make millions of dollars. And I think the good news is that they all ended up going to jail for another reason. But these people are out there, and it makes things very, very difficult. Now, let's say you have a neighbor that makes the best cornbread you've ever had, and they have a specific recipe, and for some reason it's incredibly unique. You could do a drop shipping business with them where you do the marketing and you give them the orders and then they send them out for you. They bake the bread and then send it out. And that would be a lot more difficult to rip off because it's their special recipe. And so then, by definition, you'd be doing a drop shipping business and you wouldn't have the competitors unless somebody else just came up with another cornbread recipe and tried to pass it off like your cornbread. But you get the idea. You're looking for something that is unique. Now, I have a young friend, Carmen, who is the daughter of one of my best friends. And she used to have a party business, right, where she would sell all the little knicky-knackies for parties. And so I'm talking to her right now and trying to guide her. And one of the things that we've discussed is that people like things like alien parties, puppy parties, rubber ducky parties, that kind of thing, mermaid parties. And what I am trying to talk her into doing is to putting together a package. So it's the mermaid party package. Now, what's interesting about that is that these mermaid items are available on Alibaba. And so anybody can go to Alibaba and buy a mermaid hat and a mermaid doll and a mermaid plate. And lots of people actually sell those things in a store. But to try to make her offering a little bit more unique, what I'm suggesting that she does is put together an entire package. So there might be 6 or 8 mermaid items per child. And by putting together 8 things that are not unique into one package, it makes the offering more unique. In the respect that as the mother of a child, which I've never been, I don't have to make 8 decisions. I can just go, see it's there, say 10 kids, 10 packages, and it makes the whole thing a lot more valuable to me because it saves me time. And I don't know if anybody's doing it, but from what I've seen in the 3 minutes of market research that I've done for her, I haven't seen that. But that might be a way to make this whole idea more unique. And if you're doing a mermaid package, for example, there is a lot of fluff that we can put around that to make it unique. We can do beautiful photos. We can set up the whole mermaid package and have kids there and everything looks beautiful. We can tell a story about it. We can make it a lot more interesting to the consumer, a lot more unique by selling a package than we can by selling individual items. Those individual items are not in themselves unique, but we can take them and make them unique. Now, there is a lot of other things that I want to get to, and we'll keep utilizing Carmen as an example, and Jade and Stephanie, everybody really, as we go through this class to show you the strengths and the weaknesses of these products that you're trying to put together. But the thing that worries me about Carmen is that those individual items are not unique. And so what you end up doing is you end up competing on price. And when you're utilizing advertising dollars, competing on price is never a really good decision because your profit margins get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And we're going to get into how to cost your products. But today we're talking about uniqueness. And so I thought it was worth mentioning Carmen's idea because the lack of uniqueness in the individual products does concern me a little bit for Carmen. So what is the moral of the story here? The moral is never say never. You have to test everything. You can't listen to anybody. You never know what's going to work. But there are rules that help give you a better chance of success. And the first rule is uniqueness. Now, uniqueness can come from you, okay? So you don't have to worry about it so much. You just have to think about it, right? What is it that you bring to the table that is unique? And then we have to figure out how to communicate that. But let's start at the first. Let's start on the first step. What is unique about your product? So we have about 8 more of these, and this is getting long enough. So we'll just stop with uniqueness today. And if you want to throw your product into the discussion so that I can use it as an example, please do pop it in the group. Oh, yes, we have a Facebook group now, and I'll put the link down the bottom so that you can put your questions there, and then I can talk about them in these videos. And I'm still moving in, as you can see, and I'm still crazy. So I don't know how many individual messages I can do, but if you put your product into the group, then it's a great chance for me to help you and help others by utilizing you as an example. So I hope that helped a little bit, lovely. So think about uniqueness, and I hope this clarified dropshipping a little bit for you, and more soon.